Hi, welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. I just finished an episode of how to repair a DeWALT drill. It was a pretty simple one. It had the brushes on the end of the motor, 4 screws. Take the brushes out, put them in. I'm going to do one that's a little more complicated this time. This is another 18 volt DeWALT drill. As you can see here, it doesn't have the 4 screws in the back to take loose. It's got screws in the front here. These are going to be this one's a little more complicated to take apart and put back together. So this might take a little more time, but please watch and enjoy. And then if you want to, you'll be able to repair your drill so it works as good as this one does again. Okay, let's get started on this one. First thing you want to do is obviously remove the battery. Get the battery out of the way. You don't want any electricity in here while you're trying to do this. Then we've got quite a few screws to remove out of the sides here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's one here, 8, 9 screws that we need to remove from the side of this. This will allow us to split this in half and get at the parts we need to get to. So, get started. Okay, now once you have those out, I used a T10 Torx screwdriver bit. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a T10. And then the next one is going to be I believe it's a T15. That goes right in here to take these 4 out. As you'll notice, there are 2 different size screws here. One's a little bit bigger than the other. The bit larger ones, obviously, the 4 larger ones go here. Keep track of your screws. It's also important when you start taking something like this apart, if you're not very mechanically inclined, to take pictures. Because pictures are worth 1,000 words when it comes to stuff like this. So as you can see here, I'm going to lift this off slightly, and there'll be a wire holding things together. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a wire right there holding itself to the brushes inside here. So what I'm going to do is take a little screwdriver and get down in here and see if I can pry that brush set out. Just like that. Then this half gets set aside. Now here's one half of your brush set. The other half of your brush set's a little harder to get to. And it's down behind, and I'm holding this piece in place because it wants to pop out. This is your forward and reverse control here. It's your switch. It's also your part for your trigger. The other set of brushes are behind here. And what you have in here, might be a little hard to see in black on black here, but you got 4 screws here and 4 screws here that hold 2 bearings in place, that hold this motor assembly in place. So I'm going to take those loose now. Let's see if I can get this in the camera shot for you. Okay, now that I've got the screws out, these little bearing caps slip right off. Now notice they have a direction on them. There's a little flat back here, it's hard to see. That goes toward the outside to trap the bearing in here. And the same way on the front one, it's just the opposite. You might have to get your little screwdriver in here and just kind of lift that cap up slightly. Just like that. Both bearing caps are the same, so don't worry about getting them mixed up on this particular one. I never told you, but this was a DeWALT DCD940. Once again, partswarehouse.com. Great place to go for parts. I looked them up by that model number, 3 clicks, and I had the schematic, and you could go right to the brushes. It showed this as a box set of brushes that you could order. They were only, I want to say, they're below 20 bucks for this box set of brushes, so you get this one and the other one. $20 or $24. But when you got over $100 drill here, and you can make it run like new again for, less than 20 bucks, it's worth it. So as you can see, this here lift right out, and just like that, be gentle with it, and your other set of brushes are right there. Same way, you can get a little screwdriver in here and pop those brushes right out. They slide right out, they slide right in, these little grooves here. And you can see, make note of where that purple wire is running. It's trapped in a groove right through here, and that's so it doesn't get pinched when you're putting it back together. I'll show you the old brushes. The old brushes don't look like they were that bad, but they have some wear on them. I probably lost, I'll see if I can get that a comparison there. But you can see there's a good 1/8 inch or better wore off of those brushes. And I was noticing the drill had lost a little power. The sparking, it was sparking a lot. And that's usually a good indication that your brushes are being wear. They're designed to be a certain length and have a wear zone, and apparently these were in that range. As you can see here, this still has, just like the other one I had in my other video, it just clips right off like this. That's how it plugs onto there. Pretty simple. So just reverse the steps to put it all back together. So what I'll do is I'll set this back in here. You got to be careful, all this is one assembly. Get the bearings. Whoops, I picked up a screw. This is magnetic here, so it'll pick up your screws for you if you're not careful. So I'll set this back in here carefully, back in its position, get everything lined back up. Make sure that speed switch is seated in there properly. Once all that's laying in there, you probably have to support it a little bit. Then get your bearing caps, put them back on there, like this. You can see that very good. And we'll get this other bearing cap set down in there, in its position. It just traps the bearings, and we'll put the screws back in. But that is how easy it is to replace the brushes. They're a very well built tool, in my opinion. They hold up a long time. Both of these drills I've had in both of these videos I've had for, I'm guessing, 10 plus years, easily. And they eventually get tired. Well, I replaced one with another one, and it got tired. So then I bought a 20 volt impact set, but then I started thinking, how much can I get these fixed for? And sure enough, yeah, you take them to a dealer or someplace, they're gonna charge you labor and all that stuff, but by golly, you can get the parts online, have them shipped to your house. It takes about a week to get the parts, but usually if you're in a big hurry, you've known that this has been wearing out for a while, so it's just one of those things. You put it back together, you get it fixed and put it back together. Then now I have a spare drill. I actually have 2 spare drills. So as you can see, this is going back together rather quickly. And just same way with all screws in plastic, just snug them up. Just bring them down till they stop and just give them a little twist. Not much at all. It's in plastic, it's not going to vibrate or back out very easily. They stay locked in pretty solidly. The tricky part is putting the other half back on here, because I got to get this seated back in here where it belongs. So this will go. Doesn't give you a lot of room to work because your wires aren't crazy long. Let's see if I can do this in a manner that you can see. I get that right back in its position. Once you get it in there, get it all the way pushed down seated, you can see a little area here where the wire is supposed to be kind of going so it doesn't get pinched. And then get everything popped back together just like that. Now, what I like to do here is I'll go ahead and put one screw back here. That'll hold these halves together for me. Once that's held together pretty nicely, the bottom's still going to try to spread out on you a little bit, but big deal. This one has a little drill bit clip here that I need to, actually a driver bit clip, pop out of the way. Oh, there it goes, it popped in place, so I can leave that together like that now. But then you're going to take your 4 big screws, let's get those back in place, because that's the heart and soul of this thing for holding it together. We'll get one in there and snug it up. I don't like to tighten everything down crazy tight like that. I just bring it so it's just together until I get all 4 of them in there and started. It just makes things so much better. There again, there's just 4 screws holding these together, and just that fast. Like I said, I just sped up the first one with all the screws, and I'll speed it up here in a minute again to show you putting all the screws back in. But other than that, that's all the length of time it should take to put new brushes in and get quite a few more years of service out of it. I love the old 18 volt DeWALTs because they do have a lot of torque. Also, I like my 18 or my 20 volt drill impact drivers too. it's an amazing tool as well. But why not keep the old girls here running as long as you can? If you got a spare one, you can have one in your shop, you can have one in your house. You don't have to run back and forth, and it's inexpensive. All right, I'm gonna put the rest of the screws here, so I'll speed that up so this doesn't just get bored with me talking and you guys watching me screw these back in. So okay, folks, there you have it. It's all back together. Pop it back on here. Let's see if it works. Just like that. Or reverse. Well, the torque of its original glory. Ready to go back into service. Folks, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Tell me you enjoyed the video. Tell me if it was helpful. Tell me if it was horrible. Tell me what I can do better. I appreciate it. Thanks and have a great day.